Hey folks, my name's Nick Jennison and I'm thinking about guitar, and we're down at the Victory Southwest London headquarters to check out a really special new product, which is the new MKX, and we're with head designer Martin Kidd. You guys know I'm a huge fan of Victory amps. Martin, tell us a little bit about this really exciting new amp you got.
What's this? So this is probably going to take over from the jack. It's got two channels, so it's got a dedicated clean channel with its own EQ and level. I'm quite pleased with it. We didn't want it to be an afterthought, so we wanted it to be a usable clean channel.
Clean channel is fantastic.
I took the idea from what I did on the MK Overdrive, but then that came from the Cornford MK50,
which we're huge fans of. If you guys haven't played an original MK50, we had an MK52 in my band for a while.
Yeah, that's the one, the MK52. Yeah. And then we've got an Overdrive channel, which has got two different gain structures you can switch between. So one's a crunch, really, and one's what you'd use for your lead sound, probably. It's not an ultra modern Overdrive. I mean, it can be probably, but it's more a classic Overdrive, fusiony kind of smooth Overdrive. Again, with its own EQ, level control. You've got two master volumes which you can switch independently, or you can assign master volume 1 for the clean, master volume 2 for the overdrive. A reverb, which is a new thing, a new addition. The jack didn't have that, so it's got reverb with a selection of two different types. So we've got the standard Victory. I think it's a plate, but it's just one of the presets we've tweaked a bit. And then it's got a facsimile of a spring, but it's digital.
Yeah, which is really convincing though. So I was pleasantly surprised about that.
Yeah.
So I played it for a while, and I had to like call up some folks and go, is there a spring in here?
All right, I'm good.
It's tiny.
I'm glad I fooled you.
Having them both is super interesting because, again, you know, for me, there are things where, you know, I'm playing slide, I want to spring. I'm playing the big Van Halen thing, I want to play it. So it's really cool to have that, and it almost feels like it eliminates the need for me personally to bring any wet pedals, unless I'm doing something that really requires a character delay or a specific character reverb. For a rock gig, I could turn up with this, and I wouldn't need my delay pedal. I wouldn't need a boost for the solos. I wouldn't need an overdrive pedal. Yeah.
No, you probably wouldn't. There's quite a lot you wouldn't need. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And also, I'm really impressed with how powerful and versatile the EQ is. So you were playing with the presence control around the back.
Yeah, it's on the back with the resonance. Yes.
Yeah, and that seems to do like a huge amount to the voice of the amp. Is that just acting on the power amp? Or is
yes.
that
No, it acts on the power amp, but I wanted it. A lot of presence controls don't do anything until, say, 2 o'clock, round to 5 o'clock. So the last third.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Okay.
Whereas I wanted it to do something all the way round.
I've got you. And we noticed that with the new Kraken Mark II. That was
Same idea.
Yeah, and it's a really powerful control because we're playing it with it set quite conservatively, and we were all commenting how it sounded like Eric Johnson in a box. But then you turn the presence up, and all of a sudden it has this kind of like aggressive British bite that, for me, I was going, oh well, this is cool, I like it, but I might need a bit more teeth out of it because I'm a Kraken player. And then as soon as you turn the presence up, I'm like, well, there it is. It's definitely a player's amp, and you know, I've said this a few times, but I'm always slightly mistrustful of amp designers who don't play well. And Mark, you all know Martin's a fabulous player, right? But it's something when you can tell some thoughts being given to the way it feels under the player's hands. You know,
Yes.
that makes me really happy.
Yeah, that's when I'm designing an amp, it's not just the sound, it is the feel. Everyone's heard me say that many times,
Yeah, for sure.
but it's how it feels.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not just the overdrive, all the sounds.
Yeah.
So it's how it feels as well as how it sounds to me.
But of course, we all know the speaker's the only thing that matters. Anyway, we're not going to wade into that debate. It's very fashionable to say so.
Not now.
Yeah, not now. So, talking about the jack then in that case, because if this is a follow-on from the jack, that was my question. Is for people who maybe don't get the chance to lay hands on this amp right away, which amp in the Victory range would you say it's kind of closest to? I guess it's coming from that jack DNA, but that also shares a lot with the MK Overdrive.
Yes.
Certainly from my experience. What's changed? Like, what's different between this and those amps?
With the proper, you know, concentrating on a clean channel with the kind of topology that I would like to use for a clean channel. So that's more F style.
Oh, okay.
It's not a Fender one, but it's more along those lines.
Interesting.
So
And is that
that's
to do with placement of the tone stack and
Yes,
things?
yeah.
Right.
Yep. So tone stack comes after the first gain stage.
Okay.
So we've got the reverb as we've just discussed, presence and resonance on the back. That's different.
Yeah.
And I just wanted an amp that wasn't my take on a Marshall or a Vox or a Fender or whatever else. So it's a Victory sound. That's what it is.
Yeah, because it doesn't really. It's an interesting one. It does have hints of, like you say, the F style clean and a particular flavour of British Overdrive, but it's not really like. You couldn't really put your finger on it and go, oh well, this is like a Soldano or this is like a whatever. It's very much its own beast. I love that there's so much scope for the control in the high end in particular, because you know, I have a Super Jack in my studio. It's great, quite dark, and I know that's been a criticism of some of the designs. This, I guess the way it was set when I plugged in was quite dark.
Yeah.
It can really get hairy, but it never gets unfriendly.
No, and I think when you had it set initially, you had the treble at 12 o'clock,
Yeah.
so you had some left there. But I always listen to, if I hear a lot of people say it's too this or it's got too much of that,
Yeah.
it makes sense just to see what we can do to address it.
Sure, but I think you've done the right thing just by giving it range.
Yeah.
So, and I know that's something you mentioned before about the presence control and lots of amps not really doing anything, but it's something I think folks are maybe a little reticent to do when they're plugging into a Victory amp is the controls do a lot. It's not like a Super Lead where it doesn't do anything. You know, there's nothing, and it's okay.
You've got a volume control, and that gives you the flavours of.
Sure, but these actually do things. So I've got the mid-range down at maybe 1
Yeah.
for some like chuggy stuff. And yeah, it's not a modern sounding amp, but it's only really a tube screamer away from a great modern metal voice, albeit quite unique one. But that's cool because we live in a world where everybody's using the same archetype plugins.
Yes, indeed, they are. Yeah.
So at the time of viewing, this will currently be available. We are privileged to be checking this out at the back end of 2025. I'm going to encourage you guys to go and check this out at your earliest convenience. I think you're going to like it. Any parting thoughts, Martin?
I wouldn't have thought so.
There we go.
Knowing what I'm like.
There you go. Folks, my name's Nick Jennison. I'm thinking about guitar. I'll see you next time. The guitar is objecting. It's like, Nick, what are you doing? Stop being precious. Play something musical.